In general, in dial testing, and David is of course much, much more learned about this than I am, the reason that we have that dotted line there is because 75 is sort of considered our, benchmark. 50 is neutral, that's where the dial begins. So what do we notice? We notice that this message is actually not that effective, and for them. And you'll be happy to note it's gotten much, much less effective. This is a much worse score on this message than they used to get from it. People in the focus groups who heard this message said it sounds mean, it sounds cruel. It's become far less effective for them. It is a galvanizing message. Their base loves it. That was that red line, right? It engages their base. It minimally persuades the middle. And it definitely alienates us, in this case, their opposition, right? So they know that this message isn't working that well anymore, so they came up with another one. Their sort of messaging guru guy, Frank Luntz, came up with this. This is their new message. This is what this is what you're gonna be hearing from them.
America's immigration policy has gotten it backwards. It's too hard for honest, hard-working immigrants to earn their way to come here, and we make it too easy for those who want to break the law to be here illegally. We need to encourage legal immigration and discourage illegal immigration. We need high fences and wide gates. We need more manpower in order to successfully secure our borders and laws to protect us from foreigners who would do us harm. At the same time, we need to make America the most attractive place for the best, brightest, and hardest working people from around the world. They deserve wide gates that open when they've proven their merit, when they've earned the right to be citizens. Immigration reform should secure the border, create a system to verify legal status, simplify the procedures, and create a path to legal status for those who deserve it. We need high fences to keep out those who want to come here illegally, and wide gates for those who want to come here the right way.
Okay. All right, so this message is persuasive. You saw that, right? The places where it's succeeding best for them, we need to make America the most attractive place for the best, brightest, and hardest working people from around the world. Even our base likes that message. They deserve wide gates. When they've proven their merit, they're folks like that. So there are little nuggets in this message that we actually lifted that work for our side. Why not? Frank Luntz has given them away. We'll take them. But what's interesting here is that Frank Luntz likes to claim that high fences, wide gates is the thing you can say that everybody loves, and it's not true, right? But this is what they're going to be coming at us with. And I am going to let David take us through the positive messages, and I may or may not interject some sort of what's going on at the cognitive level, why the message is working.
Thank you. Awesome. So if you look at the sort of on the spectrum here of where and I'm David Merman of Lake Research Partners. You heard Isabel introduce, and we conducted the dial tests. I'm working very closely with Anat and the team on this. So if you plot where these messages are appearing, this is a scale of sort of the ideology left to right, and then how well they're scoring in the middle, the popularity of the message. That illegal aliens, the old opposition message, still very strong for their base, not quite as popular generally now. That high fences, wide gates, you saw the green line climbing pretty strongly. That's the persuadable voters. That was a pretty effective message for them. And they've been testing these things, and they've seen those lines go up, and that's why the more sophisticated advocates on the other side are moving to a message that sounds more like that. So what goes in the left box? What do we have on our side of this that can both, again, motivate our base, and not just, there's two levels of base, right? There's the people in this room, the very, very left end of that curve, right? People who really study, engage, aware of this issue, active on it, important because you're carrying the message and carrying it, need to carry it effectively. Then the base, which is a bigger group of people, right? Millions of Americans who agree with us and who are not persuadable, as Anat said, but need to be our advocates in the wider world. And then that big group in the middle, and we need to engage them, we need to bring them over. So this is about what we call Define America. This is the most best scoring of the messages that emerged out of this long process that are not described, and we'll watch the dials climb and then talk about it. Yep, I think I'm doing it. The right arrow? Will I get the audio with that?
The right arrow.
America is a nation of values founded on an idea that all men and women are created equal. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all people have rights, no matter what they look like or where they came from. So how we treat new immigrants reflects our commitment to the values that define us as Americans. We believe that families should stick together, that we should look out for each other, and that hard work should be rewarded. You see, it's not about what you look like or where you were born that makes you American. It's how you live your life and what you do that defines you here in this country. That's why all Americans who love this country very much deserve a common-sense immigration process, one that includes a roadmap for people who aspire to be citizens.
So first look at the lines. This is we got excited about this, and we started, these emerged from a process. We did focus groups, we talked through these with people and then refined and talked to advocates again and brought it back. But when we saw these scores, it was pretty exciting. Look who's isolated. Look who's separated from everybody else. That's the red line. The opposition that hates immigrants, hates us, doesn't want to listen to us, who isn't going to listen to us. They're kind of, they started off, oh, this sounds like America and freedom, that sounds good. And then as soon as we started, made it clear that we were talking about immigrants, it was, away they went. But everybody else stayed with us. And it's not that this is a magic, we don't automatically win. Like, this is really, with those persuadable voters, the green line, we're at about at the same level as that high fences, wide gates. So we're competitive, right? But it's not all the way, we have to engage and we have to be effective with this. But our advocates obviously are totally on board, the base is on board, and we're bringing the persuadable voters right very nicely parallel with our base voters. So this is a big values-based, values-driven message. It's about America. It conveys things about America that most of us believe and most Americans believe. It's about what our commitment is to the country. We found this idea of commitment to America as being a critical bridge that people need, particularly persuadable voters. They need to feel that that's true about immigrants. And we're conveying that, but we're not conveying it by saying they have a commitment to the country. We're saying we have a commitment to the country. It's us that's talking, right? Us as Americans, including the new Americans, right? And then, of course, this term "New American" is something that you'll see in a lot of the messages. It's quite effective. We use language from the Declaration of Independence. All men and women are created equal. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that people have rights. So it's foundational documents that everyone has in their heads. These are deep values that are widely shared, and they're connecting with people, and you're seeing the results. And then these two numbers, the base support at 64%, that's the very convinced, the people who really have intensely good response. And then the shifters, that third line, that 68%, this is the best message. When you look at the people who are movable, start in one place, move to another place as a result of this process and hearing a whole range of these things, this is the single highest scoring with those shifters. It's also the single highest scoring with our base. And it does better actually than some messages that, honestly, as some of our advocates thought we're more excited about doing. But it's exciting to advocates, it's exciting to our base, and it really pulls the shifters in and the persuadables. We have a lot to work with here. Moving it to policy is still part of the challenge, but it's a very, very effective message and truly a success of this project.
Can I just say one thing?
Yeah, please.
So one of the things, not shockingly, that this comes a lot
It's
from
true.
his language. A thing that we changed about his language is the hammering of the word "you." The reason why "you" is the single most used word in advertising has a word we almost never use on the left. "You" and "I" is a very, very different concept than "we." So I'll tell you why, but not because I didn't.
Yeah, we're behind, so we'll get to it. All right. So this is really the best, the winner out of the things that we tested in terms of accomplishing all those goals that we laid out for the project. But we have several others that are also quite good, and there's a lot of language that we can work with in different contexts here. So the next one we call Injustice and Practical, very much rooted in the opportunity agenda work that Isabel was talking about. And you'll see the scores on this.
When it comes to immigration policy, what America needs now is a common sense fix that puts our values first, creates a reasonable immigration process, and moves us forward together. Anti-immigrant laws at the state level have divided communities, driven people out of the state, and wrecked local economies, causing homes and businesses to be abandoned. Opportunistic politicians peddle us false solutions by saying they want to deport 12 million immigrants, but they leave out that it would take 35 years and cost billions of dollars. This is supposed to be the land of freedom and opportunity, but gaining citizenship can cost thousands of dollars and take up to 10 years to find your way through the immigration system. No wonder it's not working. Punishing hard-working people isn't a solution, because immigrants contribute to our local communities and our economy. It's time to put politics aside and focus on creating a common-sense immigration process in our country that puts our values first and moves us forward together.
So a couple things here. This is certainly a good message in the sense that it still isolates the opposition. We're not doing quite as well with those persuadables in the middle as that define America. So not quite as good in that score. Quite well with our base, though, and with our advocates. We're trying to marry here two things that Anat will tell you don't necessarily fit together, which is the justice as a core value, but also pragmatism, people wanting to solve problems and fix things and move forward. And we're hearing that this solutions orientation is very strong in our politics right now, and you hear a lot of talk, a lot of effective political messages build on that. We talked about a common sense fix, creating a reasonable immigration process. I'll get to it. Hang on. Common sense fix, reasonable immigration process. I wanted to leave up, though, this green line for a second, because you see where we lost some of the persuadable voters here is where we said anti-immigrant laws at the state level have divided communities, driven people out of the state, and wrecked local economies.